Hey there, I just wanted to make a quick video just to sort of let you know some of what's going on in my head. I'm getting ready to study Habakkuk on our Thursday night study, and I love Habakkuk. It's a great book for many, many reasons. There's a lot of deep theology in it. There's a lot of important things that we can learn about the nature and character of God in it. But one of my favorite things about Habakkuk is actually just the prophet himself, Habakkuk, and I identify with him. He has a gritty kind of honesty that is just absolutely refreshing. Habakkuk has a bad attitude, so I'm certainly not condoning his attitude or the things that he's thinking, but I just love that he's honest with God. And aren't you thankful that God is big enough and God's mercy is such that we don't have to play silly religious games that pretend to be something that we're not, that we can just be honest with him? I love that. The book of Habakkuk basically opens with Habakkuk. Essentially what he says is, what are you doing, God? And I don't like the way you're running things. Which is a silly thing to say, obviously, and he does arrive at that point eventually through the book. But I just love that he is able to just be honest with God with how he's feeling, and that God actually responds to him, and that God hears him, and the same is true of us. I think that's one of the reasons why we're so drawn to David in the Bible as well. We're going to talk about him in the first week. The Bible says that David is a man after God's own heart, and you have to think, how can you say that, God? The massive character flaws that he had. He slept with another man's wife and got her pregnant and had him killed. I don't know anybody that's really done anything worse than that. And yet the Bible says that David was a great leader and a great warrior. And my favorite thing about David is that he was a great worshiper. I wish I was a better worshiper. And I think bound up in being a great worshiper a lot of times is just being honest, being unbelievably honest, which David was. We can read through the Psalms, and it's almost like David's schizophrenic. On one page you hear him saying, how long, O Lord, will you forsake me? And then you turn the page and you're so near that I can hardly breathe, God. And then you turn the page, and where can I go from your presence? Where can I flee from your presence? Where can I go where you're not there? And then on the next page, will you ever listen to me again, God? And then you've never left me. And it's just and on and on and on and on it goes. And I love David's honesty, and I can identify with David's honesty. Sometimes we look at some of the characters in the Bible, like Paul, and you sort of picture Paul standing on the pinnacle of the temple with his cape blowing in the wind, so to speak, and he's saying, to live is Christ and to die is gain, and I can kind of think, or you picture him, well, once I was stoned, and 3 times I was beaten with rods, and all the things that have happened to me, and you can kind of think to yourself, I wish I was there, but I don't know that I am. But David, I can definitely identify with. I can see my life in David's life. I can see my life in Habakkuk's life, and that's the message that I just kind of wanted to share with you this morning, is that we don't have to play religious games with God. God is big enough for us to be honest with whatever's going on in our lives. And one of the number one keys to great worship is just being honest.